Welcome to the Hey Taylor podcast, where ambition is a gift, not a burden, where what you desire for your life is 100% possible, and where happiness and success can coexist beautifully. In this podcast, I'm bringing you casual conversations on deep alignment, self-mastery, and high performance. Each week, my guests and I will guide you to go big with your dreams and reconnect you to your infinite potential, because I believe you deserve wild happiness and success in every area of your life. On this podcast, we don't shy away from the deep topics and tough love, because we know that personal development isn't about going through life, it's about growing through life. And I'm your host, Taylor Thompson. I'm a high-performance strategist, business mentor, multi-passionate serial entrepreneur, soon-to-be author, and your breakthrough personal development bestie. Pull up your note-taking app and let's unlock your next level of happiness and success. Your highest potential is awaiting. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited that you are here today joining me and my good friend, Samantha Harris. And I brought her on to talk all about creating exponential income, what it can do for your life, what it can do for your business. And even, spoiler alert, if you're not a business owner, but you want to create an extra stream of income, this is a really amazing way to do it. And Sam is going to talk about that a little bit towards the end of the episode. So if you're like, oh, I don't own a business, this isn't for me, it is. If you're looking for an extra stream of revenue, this is a really amazing way to create that, what Sam is going to talk about. So I'm so excited because I know you want more episodes around money and also just like doing business more aligned to you and creating more freedom in your business, making things even more simple, creating more freedom, creating more flexibility, creating more flow. And Sam is going to give us a couple ways that we can do that will help us create exponential income and also exponential impact, which is so huge. So majority of this episode, we're talking about just the power of exponential income, what it can do for your business, the benefits of it. And Sam weaves through everything that we talk about. She's weaving through and dropping nuggets and gems on things that you can do to put in your membership or how to create a membership, things like that. So this episode isn't a step-by-step how to create this for yourself, but more talking about the possibility and the benefits and what it can bring for you. And also you get to hear how Sam and I think about business. And Sam and I both have been in the entrepreneurship industry for a very long time. And we have made all of the mistakes and we've seen things change. We've seen the trends. We've seen what's been sustainable, all the things. And so if anything, it's really beneficial to hear how we talk and think, basically our thought process around making decisions in your business and creating a business where you have more freedom, flexibility, flow, all of that, and fulfillment. Those are my favorite F words, by the way. And yeah, so I'm super excited for you to listen to this. And I mean, Sam is, I say this at the end of the episode, but she is an absolute powerhouse. She truly has a gift for helping people create incredibly successful and aligned exponential income streams. So I know one thing I want to mention too is two of the biggest ways to create exponential income for yourself is through a membership program or a course, creating those and selling those. So I noticed in this episode, neither of us really described what a membership was. So very quickly, a membership, you've probably seen them. It's basically where somebody pays you recurring payment every month. So let's say it's like $97 a month. And maybe there's like a 3-month minimum, something like that. And you're providing them usually what's included. Again, like Sam really helps you create what is best for you, but usually what's included is something like community. So some sort of community group or support, maybe some calls, maybe some coaching or consulting or some strategy, maybe bringing in guest experts. Maybe there's a course in there, things like that. So basically people are paying every month for access to you or guest experts or some content or community, whatever that looks like. So I wanted to mention that because we didn't mention it in the episode. So you kind of have an idea of what a membership is heading into that, because we do talk about memberships a majority of the episode. So let's dive in. Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. I am so excited today. We are bringing back another money episode, but while the title might say money, we're also going to be talking a lot about time freedom as well. So I have my amazing friend, Samantha Harris, here to talk to us about this newly coined term that is just sweeping the industry. So first off, before we get into creating exponential income, Sam, tell us a little bit about you, both personally and professionally.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Taylor. I am so excited to be here. So a little bit about me. Life has changed a lot for me in the last 2 years, probably like a lot of us here. So I am originally from the Pacific Northwest. My husband and I met when we were just newly in ninth grade. So we have been together, I think this year is our 16th year together. I want to say 12 years married. After 10, you start losing count. So I think we're at 12 years married. We have two mini doxies, Daisy and Bo Duke, and we are nomadic. So that was actually something that came as a product of creating exponential income in our lives. We don't have any little ones, and we have decided that it's kind of silly not to do that, right? Like not to have the ultimate freedom, not to like go and do what we want when we want. So right now I'm recording this from Texas, from Austin, Texas, but home base is technically in Washington. So we plan to be there about 6 months out of the year, the nice 6 months of the year. The not so rainy, but I have been watching the weather there and I'm just like, okay, come on, when are we going to start getting sunny? Because usually it's definitely sunny, right? Like by now, this time of year, and they have had an incredibly wet winter that started early and does not seem to have an end in sight. So we're like fingers crossed that we're going to get a nice summer, because I can't wait to go back to my nostalgic Pacific Northwest summers. But we spent the last 10 or so years in San Diego, and that does really feel like home. So we've been there for the last couple months. We'll be there probably a couple more months after Austin, and then head back up the coast. So that's kind of what our life looks like right now. I retired my husband this year from his job in sales to come work with me full time. And we are having quite the adventure with that, and just taking things like day by day, and, kind of wherever the wind blows us is basically where we're ending up. So it's fun. It's exciting. It's very different. I'm an Enneagram 2, and I definitely lean more into my 3 wing these days, but growing up, I leaned a lot into that 1 wing. And so this is very foreign for me. And I'm just trying to embrace like who I really want to be and what I want to do in life. And really that's all about having the freedom to choose exactly what I want.
Yes. And going beyond time freedom, and you have location freedom.
Exactly. So I don't know what really sparked it. I guess my husband and I had looked at RVs for about 4 years before we pulled the trigger. And it was kind of just like this dream. We never really thought he'd quit his job. He loved it so much. It was pretty lucrative. And it was like, oh, we could go for 6 months at a time or whatever. And the online business was always that thing that was like, oh yeah, well, we could live off of it and you could quit your job, Chaz. And it was kind of felt like a pipe dream for a long time. And then, some things fell into place and it happened, and we're doing it. And people are like, how long are you going to do that for? And I'm like, I really have no idea. I'm not going to put any time limits on it. I have like aspirations that I want to buy some land. Like we've always said we wanted to live in 3 places, which are San Diego, Scottsdale, and the Northwest. And so, the idea is kind of to buy another travel vehicle, which is kind of crazy, but also buy some land in all 3 places and make pit stops between the 3 of them. So yeah, it's interesting. It's exciting. It's new, and we're just rolling with it.
Yes. Yes. That is the ultimate freedom, the absolute ultimate freedom, just living life as you see fit and as you want, when you want. I love it. So exponential income has been your biggest vehicle to get there. So what does that mean? And how is it different from things that other people say in the industry, like financial freedom, or trying to think of some of the other terms people say? You might know some of them. But
So passive income was what I was really trying to debunk with that one. And Taylor and I share a business coach, and I had been racking my brain and having these conversations with her. And I'm like, Grace, I need to know what I can say that doesn't sound like bro marketing, that really embodies like what I'm trying to portray here. Because I wanted women especially to know that they can make full-time income without working full-time hours. And we're talking like full-time plus income here, if you play your cards right. But when we hear the word passive income, we think, oh yeah, like I'm going to become a millionaire overnight and I'm not going to do anything. Or we think like real estate investments, which obviously costs like a lot of capital to get into, or, you know, some type of like investment is a lot of times what we think of, right? But you can create passive income via community. And it looks like exponential income. So I always tell people that if passive income told the truth, it would introduce itself as exponential income. And the whole idea behind this is that you're getting paid based on your impact, not on the hours that you're working. So you can work once and sell it multiple times, right? And so we can see this with courses, we can see this with memberships, and there's a few other things out there in the world that we could use exponential income for. But I coined this term. It just had its first birthday, actually. I don't know if you saw it this weekend, but I had a memory pop up and I was like, oh my gosh, it's been a year, because it took me a little while after I became a membership mentor to like come up with this term, because honestly, I think that the hashtag passive income on Instagram is shadow banned.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because, you know, if you look it up, it's like weird stuff comes up, like people posing in front of Lambos they don't own, and like,
of course,
you know, those kind of things. And I'm like, I want to get so far away from that type of vibe.
Yeah.
I want people to know that there's definitely work in this. There's time investment, there's risk, there's all the things like starting a business. But if you already have a community, it makes so much sense to put in this extra time investment to create something that's only going to grow for you. So I like to teach it along with membership. I do have clients that I've helped create courses with, of course, but I am a big fan of membership. And part of that reason is because I started one myself that was wildly successful. And becoming a membership mentor was never on my radar. That wasn't what I had planned to do. I was a marketing strategist, specifically Instagram. I mean, I did everything, but that was like my big focus for 5 years before we stepped into this membership mentor role. And basically what happened was I created something for my clients to keep learning Instagram after they'd worked with me. I would work with them one-on-one, helping them develop these customized strategies. But overnight, things would change on Instagram and things would be obsolete, or they'd need to know how to use a new feature or what have you. And then the other issue they'd encountered was, where were they going to get pictures? They couldn't really afford to hire a photographer every month or even every 3 months. And a lot of my clients, the only person around to take their photos besides their grumpy husbands on date night was their 3-year-old, and they get the best angles, right?
Yep.
So we created something really cool and out of the box. It was called Content and Connection. And we had these meetups where we took pictures of each other, and they were designed specifically for Instagram content. And then also we would back it up with what I called the muscle of the group, which was weekly education on marketing and building your brand and Instagram and all the things they needed to like really be successful in that way. And we grew way faster than we ever thought possible. And a lot of my friends and clients and members came to me and said, hey, I want to build a membership in my industry. Can you help me? Because there really are not a lot of people who do this still to this day. There's one guy, he's got a huge audience, but it's a low touch type of situation. It's not a hand holding situation. It's really a done with you course, honestly, what he offers. So I am an Enneagram 2. I'm also a projector. So I'm a very like high touch. I want to be involved in the whole process. I literally want to hold your hand through it. Even with our small group cohort, like I'm very much involved either way with my clients. And so I started having, I think in 2020, about 10 people came to me and were like, hey, Sam, I want to build a membership. Can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, let's figure that out. And I want to say I got about 15 to 20 of them under my belt before I really thought, wait, could I like do this like for real and stop teaching Instagram? Because I just started having these feelings toward Instagram. You guys know,
Oh
right?
yeah. Everybody here knows.
We know. So I was just like, I think I'm done with this. And obviously, I'm not done teaching Instagram. I'm going to always have that in my back pocket, but I didn't want it to be the end all be all of my business anymore. And I was really ready to move into this and teach other people that like there was so much more freedom. And honestly, if you really think about it, there was such a vibe shift between teaching Instagram, which was so much about following all these rules, to teaching membership, which is so much the opposite, is like creating your own rules. And like I had such an internal like shift when I allowed that. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm just here living life now. And I'm not subject to like to this big brother Instagram anymore. And they don't run my life anymore. And like this is so cool. And so I'm helping my girls and my students learn that along the way too. But I really wanted to show them that like, hey, you can actually work once a week and make full-time income in that 1 hour or 3 hours a week that you work versus pouring in 40 hours a week. Because what my life was looking like, the reason that I started the membership in the first place was I was capped out. I couldn't take on any more one-on-one clients. I have Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune thyroid. And I completely burnt out my adrenals. I went into a horrific Hashimoto's flare. Like it was so bad. And I could not add another client to my books. Like I was working at least 8 hours a day in front of the camera and I couldn't go on anymore.
And you're a projector.
Yes.
Projectors need like 4 to 6 hours of work a day tops.
Yes. So for me, I start at 6:30 now. I love my schedule. I'm obsessed with it. So I don't work on Mondays or Fridays in front of the computer at all. I have a CEO day and then I have a self-care day Monday and Friday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I see clients. I start working at 6:30, which is like my, Instagram and all my like my morning prep stuff. I start taking calls at 9 and I'm done by noon. And so I do 3 hours a day. That includes me working in my membership as well as seeing clients. And I literally work 15 hours a week or less. So I would not trade it for the world. And the only reason I'm able to do that is because I have exponential income.
Yeah.
So long story short, exponential income was designed and created as a word that is supposed to and does represent this idea that you can get paid based on your impact, not the hours you put in.
Yeah. I love it so much. And like you mentioned, even about the passive income piece, I feel like that I hear a lot of people even coming to me and they're like, I'm ready to build like a passive income source, which like is a whole other thing. But because they're looking for something that doesn't take any of their time. They're
Right.
like, I want something that takes 0 hours of my time a week. I'm like, well, I mean, does it exist? Does it not exist? Yeah. It's just like, it's such a shiny object syndrome term, I think, in the industry that people, and like you said, yeah, if it tells the truth, it's exponential income because yeah, it's like lying and being like, you don't have to work at all. And you just make all this money. It's like, okay, well, you have to work some, and like you're saying, like the membership route and the exponential income route, yes, there is work involved, but it's not, it's not zero work. So I think that that's so important.
Yeah. Multiple hours per week, like at least probably 3 that you're going to put in per week. It really depends. Like there's so many different styles of community that you can build. It can be back end, it can be front end, there's so many things, but there really is, it's almost like a scale that you tip, right? So when you're starting out, you're in the building phase. And so it's all work and no money.
Yeah.
And then when you start growing and you increase your membership, I just had a post that came out about this. It looks like a little bar graph. And
yeah, I'm going to link it in the show notes because I thought that was like the visual representation of it is so great. I think for people to set their own expectations around it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more you grow the membership, the less work you're actually doing. And then it tips in the opposite direction. And it's so awesome. Literally, there's never been anything better in my life. But yeah, people think, a lot of times when they hear the word passive, they're like, oh, passive. Yeah, nothing. I can own a property and have someone property manage it, and then I'll pocket $1,000 or $10,000 a month. Right. And it's like, well, that's a little volatile and scary. And there are a lot of things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Even in real estate, it's not that easy. So there's absolutely always going to be work. If someone tells you it does not require work, they're lying to you, or they're trying to sell you something that is not real.
Yeah. It just doesn't exist. Yeah, absolutely. So I know you mentioned courses, but are memberships and courses kind of the main ways to build exponential income?
As far as for people who are like us, like coaches and people who have community, yes, I would say yes. Now, I have a hot take on courses.
Okay.
And it is biased because I'm obviously, all humans are biased in some way, right?
Yep.
So it is biased because my view on courses is that I love the idea of them. This is where my I don't even know what wing this is coming out doing this, because it doesn't sound like a 1 or a 3. I don't know, but I will buy these courses aspirationally and I will never even open them. I've spent $1,500 on courses that I've never opened. I bought a course to make courses that I never opened, right? But statistically, if you look at the numbers, most people don't ever finish a course. And then even less people than that actually get out of that course what they intended, because so many students need more than just being able to read it. They need to ask questions. They need more support, right? And because I'm an Enneagram 2, because I'm a projector, again, I want to be there with my students every step of the way. And I've had people ask me, oh, do you make a course for this? And I'm like, no. And the reason is because I think there's so many moving parts that need to be customized. Yes, there are best practices and I teach them, but I can't tell you even one of my students out of all the memberships I've helped build that followed the best practices to a T and weren't tweaked slightly to accommodate them and their goals. Right. And that needed to be done. That conversation needed to be had. Right. And so I don't love a course only because I don't feel like they get the full picture and they don't have support afterwards. And if you're going to tell me that your course includes a free Facebook group for life, I'm going to tell you that you are crazy and you're leaving money on the table, because that free Facebook group should be a membership. It should be something where your energy is matched. You are putting in the energy you want them to get out of it and put into it themselves. And for that reason, it cannot be free. So a course is actually a great opportunity to open up a membership. If you have a course and you don't have a membership, you are leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Not only are you leaving money on the table, you're leaving success for your clients on the table. Because how many people do you know that utilize free shit?
I don't know if I know anybody.
Not very many people are going to utilize things they get for free because it's an energy match. In their brain, because they're not paying for it, there's no value to it.
Yeah.
There are going to be few people out there who take advantage of everything they get for free, right? That is like one personality trait, but honestly, it's not usually our kind of people.
Yeah.
Our kind of people want an energy match.
Yeah, they are.
Want to get out of it what they put into it, right? And if you're putting nothing into it, how can you get anything out of it? So again, I am biased, but I believe that if you have a course, it should have a membership on the end of it. And this can be a back-end membership. So I have one of these too. Yes, I do have 2 memberships because I am crazy, but
I want to also.
why not have and take? Do you remember us having this conversation 2 winters ago? I was Voxering you and I was like, Taylor, I'm thinking about opening a back-end membership. Am I crazy? Because Taylor was the only other person in our cohort that had experience with membership. And she's like, actually, no, you're not crazy. I want to do the same thing. And like, we talked it through and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. And you're like, oh yeah, let's do it. And so I did. And I absolutely love it because now my clients have a place to land.
Yeah.
And they have that support for as long as they need it. And they match my energy. I match their energy. It's a higher end membership. It's not a $25 a month membership because of that energy match, but they've already paid my one-on-one price. I have had only one client ever in the last 2 years not move forward. And that was because she joined the cohort to create a course. And then she decided she didn't want to create the course. She wanted to write a book instead. That was the only.
Why not do both?
Yeah, that was the only situation out of like, I don't know, at least 40 people. So it's such a great support. It is an incredible conversion because it's not likely that people are going to take a course and not have questions afterwards and not want confirmation that they're doing things right and not need to customize things a little bit, right? And so in that way, when a membership is attached to a course, I'm a fangirl of a course. I love a course because I know there's an end game, right? There's something to get to at the end. And I think that I would finish that course. I would even start that course.
Start and finish.
Right. But, otherwise, I don't want to see another course made ever again without a membership on the end of it.
It's official. I have hopped on the CBD bandwagon. I do not know why I waited so dang long to introduce this amazing product into my life. I've been using CBD for my period pain, ovulation pain, travel anxiety, and to help me sleep if I have had any alcohol or sugar too late in the night. The company I trust for all my CBD needs is Soul CBD. Their products are organically farmed, third-party tested, and contain 0 THC, and they're gluten-free. I love the peppermint CBD oil drops or the strawberry gummies for traveling, and especially I love their Alert CBD capsules. I try to avoid caffeine as much as possible, and these Alert capsules give my brain a boost when I need it without getting jittery or harming my adrenals, and contain very, very little caffeine. You can get $20 off your order when you use the link in the show notes. If you've been following me for a while, you know that brain, gut, and immune health are so incredibly important to me and help me performing at my best. I'm always on the lookout for wellness elixirs and products to add to my routine that is easy, travel-friendly, and free of any Franken ingredients. One of my favorite brands has been Four Sigmatic, especially their elixirs. Their elixirs are adaptogenic, caffeine-free, and include extra wellness-boosting ingredients to help you feel your best, whether you're trying to think, chill, defend, or perform. You can easily add this powder to your favorite coffee, tea, smoothie, or just in some hot water like I do, and adding it to my multiple beverage collection. And their packets are so easy to travel with. I can use them in the airport, hassle-free. You can use code HeyTaylor for 10% off your purchase at foursigmatic.com. Yeah, because courses, even thinking about like the sales piece of courses too, it's like, it's something that, okay, it's like you work so hard. Let's say you have a $500 course. It's like you work so hard to get a $500 sale. Mm-hmm. With a membership, if you were charging, let's say like $100 a month or $97 or whatever a month for a membership, and you convert one person into the membership that gets better support, they're actually going to go through the content, they're going to get community, all that kind of stuff. And they stay for 18 months and then leave, that's 18 times 100. What is that? 1800.
Yeah.
1800 that you've made an income, and you've probably made a bigger impact. Guarantee you've made a bigger impact if they stayed for 18 months, than just purchasing a $500 course.
Right. And then if they're purchasing both, it's like, it's not only great for them, but it's great for you financially too. Mm-hmm. And I have noticed myself do this, and I think this is my Enneagram 1 wing, but I have done this my entire business where I almost like to secure income for myself for, periods of time rather than just one sale. It's always been like, okay, this is going to be a 6-month commitment so I can project, or this is going to be a 3-month commitment so I can project it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when I had first started my business back in like, I don't know, what was it, 2017, I think. I basically created paydays for myself because I told my clients they had 2 options for due dates, the 1st or the 15th. So I got paid on the 1st and the 15th.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, okay, I secured this income for myself because, again, even entrepreneurship as an idea was kind of crazy for me because I mean, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but because I was able to set up like these safeguards, if you will, to ensure that I'm going to have income for at least 3 months, that was something that helped me feel better about it. And that's another thing I love about membership is that, we can say, okay, it has a 3-month minimum commitment, or it has a 6-month or 12-month. I mean, I have thoughts on all those things, but
Mm-hmm.
you can easily project income inside of a membership so much easier than a one-on-one business, right? I had a friend who she sells courses and then she was doing one-on-one work. So those are the only 2 things she does.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no exponential income in her offer suite whatsoever. I'm going to talk her into it, but this is where she's at right now. And she lost all 3 of her retainer clients last month with no warning.
Mm.
So now all she has is her course income and her like one-off income. And I'm like, okay, that's a little scary. Like that was income that you had projected to have for however long, and those contracts were up and none of them renewed. So maybe we should do some exponential income, because losing, 1 member at $30 when you have 100 members is a big difference financially than losing $3,000 a month times 3 clients,
Yeah.
So it's an interesting conversation, I think, because a lot of people are like, oh, I want high ticket, or, oh, I don't want to do recurring charges. And it's like, well, you also want to think about what's happening in our economic climate right now. In 6 months from now, are people going to be super willing or able to pay thousands of dollars to work with you one-on-one? It's pretty likely that people are going to start getting a little tighter with their wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just mental, even if they're still making the money in their business, things are kind of leaning that way, right? I'm not an, economy like specialist or anything like that. I do not have a degree in this, but we can all kind of see where this is going, and we've all been here before, right? And so we kind of know what's happening. I mean, you're even seeing it like in the fast food places, like the $5 deal boxes are coming back. And like I was joking with Chaz, when we were in high school, we lived off of the $5 footlongs from Subway. And so I'm like, I wonder if the $5 footlong is going to make a comeback for this economy, right? And like millennials joke about that stuff because we lived through that, right? Like we've already been through this rodeo once. We know that, we lived off $5 footlongs, and we're waiting for the housing market to crash again. That's the reality of this.
Yep.
But if you take a look at your business and you want to project and plan smart for the future, what you would do is add a membership to your offer suite and be realistic about the price. Because let's say your one-on-one offer is $3,000 right now, and you have no other offers. That's a little bit dangerous, because if someone can get access to you, even if it's at a much lower level of access, but if they can still gain that access to you at $47 a month or $97 a month, and you can do 100 of those, that is going to be way easier for you and your clients to move forward without stress, without busting your butt, without having to change your prices, right? And it's what's fair. And so if you plan smart and you plan for this, you can end up on top still with exponential income rather than burnout, lowering your prices, effing up your energy match. Like, you don't have to be reactive to this. You can be proactive about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been talking about it a little bit. I don't want to like ruffle any feathers, but it's like, I also don't want to be the person who quietly says, I told you so. Like, I kind of want to be like, hey guys, this is it. And I want to be able to say, I told you so a lot louder. If you don't do this, and like, the thing is there's no repercussions if you do it. And let's say the economy doesn't crash, right? let's say that doesn't happen.
Yeah, let's just say.
There's no repercussions if you create exponential income out of it either way, right? Like nothing bad's going to happen now that you're making 10,000 extra dollars a month. Like,
Yeah.
It's a very safe decision to make, an investment to make in your business and your future, honestly. And then there's the whole conversation too, if we get away from the scarcity conversation, there's a whole conversation about abundance and freedom. That is what this really is about,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to stay on that scarcity conversation because this is, I mean, again, I'm biased, but this is the way to have abundance and freedom when there is scarcity in the world. And I think, if you're wanting something different for your life and you're sick of the rat race, or you're burned out, or you have autoimmune like Tay and I, or your adrenals are screaming at you.
Also, like both of us.
Yeah, like whatever it may be, or you just want something different. I know that like going through this panorama has changed people's mindset quite a bit. And, people got a taste of working from home, and people got a taste of what it looks like to be able to do what you want when you want. And I think they don't want to go back.
Yeah.
So this is the way to move forward. And for me, like, I think it's pretty cool that I get to show you that I did it and actually live it out, because there's a lot of coaches out there. Like, I don't call myself a coach, and you'll hear me say that a million times. I know that in the industry, we use the word coach and it's universally like known. So I'll talk about us as coaches. But when I was first introduced to this industry and I first started my business, I knew all these coaches, LinkedIn coach and a life coach and all these people that called themselves coaches, and they were freaking messes. And they failed at whatever they were doing, and that's why they became a coach at it. And I was like, I never want to be known that way.
Yeah.
Ever, like that is not me. And so I've always called myself a mentor or a strategist.
I like
And
it.
I don't love the word coach, but if we want to use a universal term that everyone knows, I guess it's coach. So for coaches, I think it's just such a smart way to add that freedom and allow, like, you don't have to work from your desk every day. I have this desk aversion. I think, Tay, you might have this too. But I was a salesperson before I started my business. And it was so funny. Growing up, I always wanted a desk job because, I didn't want a labor job. Like, I didn't want to be like a grocery checker where I had to stand on my feet all day, or someone working in retail. Like, I wanted a desk job because I felt like that was important. And so I started out as an insurance agent, which really is sales. And I learned pretty quickly that I made all my sales away from my desk. I closed sales at my desk, but I wasn't making money necessarily if I was sitting at my desk all day. I needed to be out and networking because that was kind of like before people did that on the internet. So I learned that pretty quickly. And then I took a sales position in another company, and that was kind of our philosophy. So then I became really averse to my desk. And I was like, oh, desk? I don't want to work there. I would literally work from anywhere. Can you see me? I'm on a couch.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
I would work from anywhere but a desk, because to me, desk meant like prison. Desk meant I have to stay here for 8 hours, and I want to be out doing things. I want to be out and about, right? And so I just want to give you guys that permission. Like, if you work from home right now, you don't have to do that from your desk.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally feel that. I do my podcast interviews and meetings at my desk, because I do like, for those, I do like kind of the structure of a desk, but I work in other places of my house or coffee shops or outside or whatever. Because I always tell like my clients, and I have this in a business strategy talk that I give sometimes, of like, I didn't quit corporate to continue working at a desk from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Like, that is not what I want. It wasn't just, it was the aspect of working for myself and doing what I want and stuff, but also like structuring my work schedule exactly how I want, like the times that I work and where I work. Like, I don't want to be chained to my desk. So I love all of that. And that I think is a huge perk of being able to create exponential income, because you don't have to. I mean, even if you have calls on your membership, like you also don't have to take those at a desk if you don't want to. You can be
Right.
outside, like, and yeah, that's amazing. If have a community with it, like responding to people, that can be done from your phone while you're sitting at the beach or on top of a mountain or whatever, if that's your thing. So
Exactly.
cool. One more thing I wanted to touch on, that we talked about at the beginning is, when kind of wrapping up the benefits of kind of membership and exponential income is, you mentioned Instagram, like the freedom from the hamster wheel of Instagram and social media marketing and algorithms and all of that. Because if you are always converting one-on-one clients or booking packages or services or whatever that might be, you're kind of chained to always posting and always like having to like send out emails and stuff, which yes, if you have a membership, like those things are very, can be beneficial to get leads from and to market the membership and things like that. That is a good marketing strategy. But if you have projected income, if you have people in a membership, I have been telling a lot of my clients, like, I want us to build a business that if you want to just turn the faucet off on Instagram, if you just want to be like, hey, I want to step away from Instagram for 60 days, I want it to be able to not affect your income. Maybe your income won't rise. I don't know. It depends. But if you have like a membership, then you at least have projected income for the next couple months. And unless somebody cancels, like you're probably set at that. If you have a membership that's making you $5,500 a month, and you're like, okay, I want to step away from Instagram and step away from marketing, or just do a complete like online fast.
Yeah.
You can, and you can probably project that for the next 2 months, you'll make $5,500 from your membership. It's like, that is freedom. Like that is so cool, just to be able to have the choice to do that.
Absolutely. And like yesterday, I got 3 messages from my clients. Is Instagram acting up? Is Instagram being weird? Yeah, girl, it's Mercury retrograde.
Of course.
But here's the thing. We can't put the stock in Instagram that we used to anymore.
Yeah.
And I have seen so many people, myself included, just be incredibly disappointed with what is happening on Instagram right now. Not only the algorithm, but like the way people act and, just like so many different things, right?
Oh, yeah.
But like story views happen to be a big trigger for a lot of people right now. And it's like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, the right people are going to see it. All you have to do is show up. Just show up with no expectation. If that's part of your strategy needs to be just as free as the rest of your business for Instagram. And like, do not allow Instagram to control you anymore. I allowed it for a long time, and I was so like, this is the rule. And like, not necessarily in the way that like it wasn't flexible and it didn't have to adapt, because I was very much aware of that. But I was always like, this is the best practice and we have to do this, right now, this is what it is. And now I just like literally don't care anymore. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what I know works. I'm cool with learning, like, okay, what's the new trend? But like, when I see these bros on Instagram who that's their job is to tell us how to use Instagram, telling everyone else that they have to make 3 reels a day. First of all, that is so unsustainable. It's not even funny. And I can see that if it's your job to make 3 reels a day, that you can do that. But like, most of us actually have to work. And so,
or just want to live life.
Yeah. Or just want to live and don't want to live on Instagram. So like, do what feels right for you. And you're going to attract the right people when you're showing up authentically. And that's what, I'm saying is, you're showing up as authentically you and your strategy that fits you, not what someone else says, not what Shillian Johnson's son says.
That's totally who came to mind when you were talking about posting 3 reels a day. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard him say that like 100 times.
That's like all he says.
And I don't even follow him.
I don't follow him either, because I'm like, you are toxic. Go away. Like, you are. My hot take on that is that people like that are single-handedly ruining the algorithm. So they're telling people they have to show up like every day so that other people who don't start losing everything. And it's
Yeah.
like, you ruined this. The algorithm doesn't dictate things. We create the algorithm. The algorithm is a responsive tool. So it's going to pick up on human behavior. It's not really like, oh, hey guys, this is the new declaration and this is what we're doing today. No, it's people like that who are ruining the algorithm.
Yes. Also a really good post for you. I loved when you were just like, just don't let Instagram control you. Just like period, like mic drop, like just
So I actually
don't.
real on that. Like I'm just
Okay,
like,
cool.
I'm stepping into this where I've told myself I was going to do this forever, but like I'm so sick of the what is it called? Like mouthing, like the sounds and stuff.
Oh, lip syncing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm bad at it. Second of all, it's just like you see the same thing over and over. So I'm just start talking on Instagram on Reels, just like I do in my stories with my hot takes and my tips and all the things. I think that's what's actually going to make an impact, honestly.
Yeah.
So much more than like following these trends. Now you can still put songs on them and like make them quieter and all that, but I'm going to do it this way. And you guys need to do what works for you too. Do not feel pressured by Brock Johnson.
Have you been personally victimized
If you
by
have
Brock
been
Johnson?
victimized by Brock Johnson, call this number. There may be restitution for you.
Yeah, I like that though. I've been thinking the same thing of like, I did when I was kind of doing reels regularly, like I was having some fun, but it was still something I was just like, oh, I have to do this. And it wasn't something I wanted to. And I'm like you, like, I love just like talking. So I'm still kind of thinking of like what I've like taken like Instagram has taken incredibly like far back seat, like all the way, like last row on the airplane type of, deal in my business, but I'm going to get back into it. I'm excited to see kind of what that looks like, but yeah, it's just, I don't want to be in the hamster wheel.
So if you don't want to be on the hamster wheel on Instagram, get the heck off of there. You do not have to be there. If you don't want to be in the hamster wheel in your business anymore, think about creating an exponential income strategy that works for you. Because gosh, there's just so much freedom to be had.
Yes, there is.
It's there waiting for you.
Yes. So can non-entrepreneurs use this method? So like somebody who doesn't have a business, what would you suggest?
That's a really good question. I knew you were going to ask that because I know you have a good chunk of your audience that aren't entrepreneurs. And I think anyone who identifies as a leader of people, a leader of community, right, and wants to inspire people. Now, I think opening a membership would create an entrepreneur in you.
Yeah,
that would happen. You would be creating a business, right?
Yep.
But it's a different kind of business. It's not, it's not a product-based business. It's not this or that. So it's actually, in my opinion, I've started lots of different businesses, just like you, Tay. I've had product businesses and all the things, right? So I would say by far a membership is the easiest, most seamless process I've ever done in business. There's so little to worry about on like the legalities and all those kinds of things. But yeah, I would say absolutely yes. I have had actually quite a few clients who, I mean, they have businesses, but their businesses are very like people to people based rather than like B2B based. So they're more like about like making girlfriends and having adventures and like, doing all these fun things together. So absolutely yes.
Yeah. And I mean, especially that would be really easy way to start a business is just have a membership, just period. That is the business. That is what you offer. You don't have to offer like one-on-one stuff or anything like that. That's like such an easy entry point, I think, for people who aren't existing entrepreneurs.
It really is. And I will say that like, there's so many different types of memberships out there. It doesn't have to be like anything else you've ever seen. It can be exactly what you want it to be. And even if you have other things on your plate, membership is one of those unique, we'll say, quote unquote, side hustles that actually is sustainable because You're not having to do all these extra things. Like if sold for an MLM or something like that, like there's no training calls. Like you are the training calls. You're doing the training calls.
Yep.
Like it's not this huge thing to add it to your offer suite. It's a nice, obviously it takes some time to build it, but it's something that can be done in a couple hours a week. And it also could be the thing that sustains your entire income. I have clients who've done both. I've had it be the third thing in their offer suite. I've had it be the only thing they do. I've had it be the back end thing that they do, after one-on-one. So there are so many different options with it.
Yeah. So a couple more questions I have. Is there anybody that a membership wouldn't be for, or like any specific business model or industry or something that you're like, I just have not seen memberships work for this?
I think it's more of a personality style thing.
Yeah, I feel that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not necessarily like, I don't know that I've encountered any like businesses or, anything that a membership wouldn't be for per se, but I have encountered people it wouldn't be for. And the first thing is if you're someone who struggles to do what you say you're going to do.
Mm.
So if you're someone who likes to switch things up a lot and like really struggles to show up when you say you're going to be there. Now, I know that can be like a super convicting thing for me to say right now. And it might feel like it ruffles your feathers. If I don't want to like call any Enneagram numbers out right now, but there are certain Enneagram numbers that struggle a little bit more with it. I would also say that there are numbers who maybe need to do a little bit more work on their confidence and stuff like that in order to feel like membership is for them. And I would say that really, if you don't believe that your membership is the absolute best way that your ICA can spend their time and their money, then you shouldn't open a membership.
Mm-hmm.
That membership, if you don't believe it, then how can they believe it?
Right.
They really can't. Like you cannot expect someone to buy your stuff if you don't believe that this is the best way that they could go about it. Right.
Yeah.
So there are certain Enneagram numbers, obviously, that struggle with that if they're in unhealth.
Yeah. They lean on the unhealthy side.
I would say, yeah, it's more of a personality thing. Also, if you just don't like leading people.
Yeah. Or don't see yourself as a leader, then there's some, internal embodiment work that needs to be done.
Yeah. And then there's some people who just don't want to be involved in the process of things. Like they want to teach it and they know they're the expert. So those are the select people I think that a course would be for them. They don't want to be involved in the process. They don't want to answer your questions. They just want to be like, hey, here's the info, take it or leave it. And they're just direct like that. That's completely fine too. So yeah, there's definitely people that a membership isn't for. But I would say if you're someone who loves to teach, you love people, you love making an impact, I think that is the biggest driver for me. I always ask people like, how important is impact for you? Because that's really what membership is. Like it's exponential impact as much as it is income. The income obviously is like the sexy part that people are interested in, but the impact is where it's really at. Because if you're just here to make money, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because people can see right through that.
Yes.
You have to be here to make an impact.
Yeah.
So that's like the first qualifier, I guess, is like, what kind of impact do you want to make? And I have a membership prep worksheet that I'll have Tay link for you guys. And it really asks all those questions like, do you want to make an impact? And what kind of impact are you making? Income is toward the end of it. It's like, okay, well, so how much is this going to yield now that we know all of this, right? So it walks you through all these important questions to like help you decide like, okay, is a membership for me? Is this real? Can this become real? It's like, I'm a big fan of like thinking in ink, right? Like if you write it down, it can be real.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps you walk through that process. It asks some questions that are like, oh, maybe you haven't thought about this before. Maybe you haven't thought about pricing before. Maybe you haven't thought about, exactly what you want people to get out of this before, because there has to be a transformation, right? Like there's got to be a point where they're like, okay, I was here and this membership helped me get here.
speaking of Enneagram numbers, I was just thinking of this because you are too. Like memberships are incredible option for Enneagram 2s because they are helpers.
Yeah.
And you can help a lot of people while still protecting your peace and your boundaries and your time and your energy.
I do think that I happen to be the ideal Enneagram and human design number / type for a membership.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you're an Enneagram 2 with a projector human design style,
yes,
I would say that it's definitely for you. I've also seen 4s really, really love a membership. Ones also love a membership. They love the structure of it.
Sure. Yeah.
7s can struggle a little bit, but the thing is about a membership is that you do have the reins. You can change things.
Yeah. I know that's been my biggest thing is I'm like, okay, if I launch it, I need to commit to it for the long term. And I don't have commitment issues. If I'm loving something, I'm all in, like, let's do this and I'll commit. But for me, it kind of comes back to freedom a little bit, but you're totally right. Like you are the owner of it. So if it needs to like shift or pivot here or there, like you can.
Yeah. And like for me, I have completely changed my membership from what it originally started as, partially because of the panorama, partially because of like the economy and like what has happened, but also because of like Instagram has changed and like the way that we show up online has changed. And I just feel like it needed to change. So I'm not someone who particularly likes change, which is funny, considering my lifestyle. But I think that a membership actually does give you that freedom, especially because it's a monthly, like you're not necessarily in a contract when you sign up for a membership. So I always tell my clients, like, you will have a membership that is completely different on day 1 than it is on day 365. Like it evolves, and that's just how it is. There are also options for not only changing, but also walking away from your membership. You can sell your membership. Like it becomes a viable, sellable business, So I sold half of my membership. Like not only did I gain passive income, but I gained, I don't know, what kind of income is that?
I don't know what it's called when you sell it. I don't know.
Like, here's the thing is like my one-on-one business, I can't sell that. That's all me.
Right.
I don't have a book of business to sell, but like my membership was marketable. I did sell half of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. That's a great option for people too in the future. Cause like, I know I'm trying to kind of think of like, cause I know I'm going to continue to have I have had multiple businesses. Now I kind of have like 1.5-ish. And I know I'll continue to have multiple businesses, but I love the idea of like having a business that makes money off of me, that like I can make money off of until I'm 95.
Yeah.
And just like being me, and then having something that is sellable so that it's almost like, yeah, you're putting in all of this time and you're getting the income back when you need it. And then also in the future, you can get income for when you say, okay, I'm done. Kind of like buying a house, but your house, it's like your house pays you every month. And then when you go to sell your house, you get paid more.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of income that's called. We need a real estate professional, or maybe we need to talk to our finance girl about this, but it is a marketable asset at the end, like it has recurring income that you can say, okay, this membership makes this much money, and it's absolutely marketable.
I'm curious, how long does it usually take somebody to, I know there's so many factors, but to kind of give people a little bit of expectation around it, how long does it usually take to bring in full-time income? I know a full-time income number looks very different to people. Yes. And probably also audience size, or like, I should say like warm audience size maybe plays a factor, but what have you kind of seen with that?
Audience size, price of the membership definitely are factors. Huge factors, I guess. Those are the two biggest factors. But best practice, quote unquote, is 6 months.
Mm.
So it again depends on the numbers, but I do have a post that outlines this, and it uses the number $47 a month. And typically what we say is like $47 a month times 100 members brings in that full-time income of $4,700 a month. That is typically at least enough to sustain half of a full-time income. But for some people, a lot of my students had jobs that paid less than that, and now they're making more doing this. But also, again, because it's not such a huge time commitment, they're supplementing with that $56,000 a year, you know? So it really just depends. I know for me, like, I totally could have lived on my income from my membership. However, I chose not to. So like I still run and I've always run my one-on-one business because again, I'm very high touch and I love that connection with people. But having, you know, those multiple streams of income is very safe. But again, you could totally replace your job or your current business model by doing it this way. I have another client who she's making multi six figures at her day job. And she was like, yeah, you know, I just want to add this little membership in. I don't know how much of my offer suite I want it to be. And I was like, well, what if we have the goal of this being 80% of your offer suite and it replacing your full-time income? And she was like, you really think we could do that? I was like, well, let's map it out. We absolutely created a plan for her to do that within 2 years. That is very, very conservative. Like she can probably hit it in a year.
That's cool.
Absolutely, yes. And we're not talking a little salary. We're talking like plus salary. So absolutely, yes. And again, that's only going to be 80% of her income. So she still has all these other things she does, the one-on-ones and the cohorts, and you know, so there are so many options. There are people that are multimillionaires from membership. Like you can absolutely do that. You can make it as small or as large as you want, because the thing is your income does not depend on the hours you put in or the time that you have. So it's completely up to you. There's literally no ceiling here.
Yeah, because you can be working. The thing about the exponential income model that you've created is the thing that you can do is you can work 3 to 4 hours a week and have hundreds, and depending on your price, you know, hundreds and hundreds of members in your membership and be bringing in, you know, $100,000 a month from that. Exactly. Like it just keeps growing as long as it's good quality membership, you know, obviously people want to stay and people want to join.
Keeping it at the forefront.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of friends and clients that are making multi 5 figures a month in their memberships.
Yeah.
So it's completely possible.
Yeah. Okay. 2 more questions. One, what are some of the things that you've seen people start memberships for, just to give the listeners an idea? Maybe like 2 or 3 kind of like very different things people have created memberships around.
Okay. Very different. Okay, so my star student's name is Courtney. I'm literally sitting on her couch right now.
I
my greatest friends.
love her. I've never actually talked to her, but I follow her on Instagram and I'm obsessed. She seems amazing.
So let me tell you about Courtney. And these memberships are different, but also the people are very different. So let me tell you about Courtney. Courtney is an Enneagram 4, and Courtney she's the oldest of 3 siblings. She came from a very normal middle-class family, but she became a nanny right out of high school. And because of that, she was integrated into these families and had these unique perspectives of what their lives look like, you know, what the clutter did in their families and how these busy parents lived. And she was actually responsible for clearing or cleaning up a lot of this clutter in these homes. And so she decided pretty early on that she wanted to live a pretty simple life. She wanted her kids to live a simple life. And she's very much a minimalist. And so I wish I could show you guys around her office right now. It's so cute, but it's like so simple at the same time. So she created the Simplicity Society, which is a membership that helps women learn and support them through the process of decluttering their homes. Her brand is called Declutter and Dwell. Her membership is called the Simplicity Society, because her membership is primarily about decluttering, but it's also about decluttering other parts of your life. It's more of the dwell side of it, right? So how can you simply take care of your health and your mental health? And, there's some other factors that go in there too, right? As part of the support to clearing the clutter in your home. But her membership is designed mostly for working moms and moms in general who want to clear that clutter and live a more simple life. Then we have Jamie. Jamie is an Enneagram 7, the most true Enneagram 7 I probably have ever met. And she is someone who likes to switch things up all the time, right? So her membership is very different now than when we started it, but it has thrived. And so what she does is she was a celebrity stylist, and she took those skills and is now applying it to moms who want to get dressed and really want to be confident. Get them in front of the camera, get them out into the world, have fun, live your life. No matter what your body looks like, you need to look and feel good in your clothes. Don't pay attention to the tag. Here's how to get dressed, right? And so she's helping moms get dressed confidently through the Style Society every single month. And her membership is massive. It is incredible. And it is such a supportive community. Again, for moms, she has coined her term, like mine is exponential income. Hers is the mama form. And she actually has that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
And then let me give you one more example. I have another client who is a wedding planner. And during the pandemic, she started a membership that helped women DIY their wedding planning via a membership so that they had a space to kind of run things off of each other, learn. So it's almost like a course membership hybrid because there is an end date.
Yeah.
I have a few clients who actually have time sensitive memberships for a certain time period in people's lives, right? So you're always going to be decluttering your home. You're always going to need to get dressed, but you're only getting married hopefully once, right? Or you are only having a baby for a certain period of time, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a couple of clients that I've helped build out these memberships that support people through certain stages of their life. And those have been super duper fun too. So just a little bit of variety there. It doesn't all have to be B2B. Like my memberships have always been B2B, but all of those are B2C actually.
Yeah, I love that you used all B2C examples because that is one thing that I've heard a lot from people. If they're not B2B, is just like, how do I even monetize this knowledge, or this passion or whatever that I have for helping people? But B2B, it's, much more straightforward, or I should say much more obvious, creating a membership around that.
The client in a B2B membership, they know they're going to spend money and invest in themselves, right? But all of these ICAs are not necessarily up on that. So there is some work that we have to do on the marketing side to help people realize like you are worth investing in yourself in this way, right? But it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. So what are the next steps if somebody is like, oh my gosh, I need to create exponential income like yesterday? What are the next steps for them to create that for themselves? Like, what can they do on their own? Also, like, how can people hire you? Yeah. Because you like are your brain and how it works. I mean, people have seen it on this episode, but you just see memberships. Like you just have it in your head and you're just like, this is exactly how it works. And it's just like a big puzzle and you just like have the master key to all of it.
So if you're a DIY girl, unfortunately, I don't have a course, at least not at this time. And you've heard why, right? I think I might get there one day, but right now I really want to have that high touch experience with my clients. I guess the more DIY way to do it would be through my cohort, which is called the Exponential Income Accelerator. It's a 6-week to membership cohort. And we do that in a small group intensive. You do still get one-on-one time with me. But there's a lot of group support as well. So it really depends on your learning style. Honestly, like my whole objectives in this entire process are making sure that you are on the right track to create an income exponentially and quickly and efficiently, right? Like I never want your investment in this to be a question of, should I have spent that money? I always want that to be a no-brainer. I always want you to be able to recuperate that quickly. And honestly, teaching membership has been the quickest way I've ever seen my clients recuperate their money. I also tell people the investment in this if you feel like the investment is too high or too scary, I don't want you to even open a membership, because here's the thing, I don't want to say what I charge. I guess the investment that I ask of my clients is what you should be making every month at a minimum in your membership.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't see that for yourself, then you need to go back to the drawing board and gain some confidence and really like understand that you have to know for a fact this is the best way people can spend their money, and this is the minimum amount you're going to make every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and both of my options, the one-on-one and the cohort, they actually are the same price. And the reason is I don't want someone to choose one or the other based on price. It has to be fully about the experience being right for you.
Yeah. I like that.
Customized to you, and it has to be the right learning style for you. I'm huge on learning styles, and that is something that we really dive into in membership, because we want to make sure that all of your members are covered. All of the learning styles are covered. The bases are all covered in the way that you teach, because you're going to have people that are only visual, and you're going to have people that want to listen only, right? And so you want to make sure that you're giving that option. So of course I want to give that option to my clients as well. If you're a DIY gal, here's the thing. I DIY'd my membership. And I tried so hard to find someone. Taylor knows this because she did the same thing. I tried so hard to find someone who could help me not only build, but grow my membership. And I made a really bad investment that I learned quickly that the girl who sold it to me did not know what she was doing.
Sam and I both made the same bad investment.
Yeah, this was before we met Grace.
Yeah.
Investment that we both made, and that's actually how we know each other first. But yeah, I would say that if you're someone who wants to do it right the first time, don't DIY it.
Yeah, I have to like 1000% agree with that. I really do. Having gone through it, I've had kind of two different memberships ish, and I DIY'd one, and the other one I tried to go through this program that Sam and I invested in. And there are people out there teaching some not authentic, not aligned strategy around memberships. And Sam really has this down. She really has this down. It's super, super aligned how she helps people, and super authentic. She works with people, how she works, like even with their personality. I mean, it is important, we've talked about on this podcast, like understanding somebody's Enneagram and human design, different stuff like that. And so, Sam really understands that. She brings in that psychology, like even just talking about the learning styles. Like I've never heard, I followed so many people who have taught about memberships, never heard anybody talk about learning styles. Like, cause that is, if you want to really help impact everybody, you got to meet them where they're at, and you can check all of the boxes of the learning styles, so things like that. You're just doing such an incredible job. I'm just so excited for you. Like you've created this for yourself, and now you're helping all of your people create exponential income and just like ultimate freedom. I love it.
I'm having so much fun. I think this is my favorite thing I've ever done. Yeah. If you know me, I've done a lot of things.
Me too. I mean,
we're both on that. Yeah. Like I've dipped my toes in a lot of things, and I think this is my favorite thing that I've ever done. I hope that memberships stay forever. I know right now they're really having a moment. Like, Alaskan Airlines just announced a membership. Taco Bell has a membership. The Panera Sips membership is really, really getting to me. I've seen so many TikTok ads for it, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good deal. But I don't even have a Panera anywhere near me. And I actually don't even like Panera.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, that green tea at Panera though is really good.
I know it is.
So they almost have me. So if we end up in an area where there's Panera, we might be doing the Panera Sips membership. But, everybody's kind of jumping on this bandwagon, and I don't think it's a bandwagon. I think that this is a long-term sustainable resource for your business and your clients that can help meet them where they're at, help them match their energy, help them get to where they need to go, at an affordable price. And, like I said, going into this unknown economy, this is a really safe choice for you and your clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Memberships are not going anywhere. I love it. Okay. So is there anything else that you're feeling called to share about memberships or just exponential income that you feel we didn't hit on or that you want people to know right now?
I want to say that it's a lot easier than you think, as
Mhm.
long as you have someone there with you. Like that was what I was longing for the entire time. I felt so alone in my membership because, you can't talk about the problems that you're facing to your members. Like
Mhm.
that's a no-no.
Yeah.
And like, no, I felt like no one understood because just no one I knew had a membership yet. And that was why we created these programs. They were just like literally bred out of the exact problems I see coming up in like time and time again. And so it's it's so important to like have someone that can meet you where you're at and like really truly understand what you're going through and be like, okay, there is an answer, there is a way out, there's always an answer, and I'm here to help you find it, kind of thing. So I wish I'd had that for myself, and I love being able to be that resource for people.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. And how can people find you online? So we talked a little bit about how they can work with you. I'll link everything below.
Of course, Instagram. My website, my Instagram are the same, samanthaharris.co.
Whoops.
No problem. So I do hang out on Instagram. I'm trying to get into TikTok, but we'll see how that goes. I'm a little scared of how mean people are on TikTok.
It's
but
a different demographic.
I hang out mostly on Instagram. So I would love to connect with you there. Let me know that you came from the podcast. I would love to start a conversation with you. I'd love to talk about the membership idea that you have. I'd love to have you download the membership prep worksheet and show it to me. I would love to, again, I just really like to be part of the process, guys.
Yes.
So you can check out all the offers they're available on the website. And then, like I said, I've got a couple posts that I would love for you guys to see that outline both the process and like how the scales tip in your favor when you do membership the right way, and then also how the income can be built. So I'd love to share those with you too.
Perfect. I'll have everything linked below. And thank you so much, Sam, for coming and telling us all the amazing things. And it makes me want to start my membership this year.
Okay, let's do it. I'm here for that.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks, girl.
Thanks so much, Tay.
Thank you for joining us this week. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you can receive new episodes right when they're released. And if you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love for you to leave us a review in Apple Podcasts. Reviews are one of the major ways that Apple ranks their podcasts. So even though it only takes a few seconds, it really does make a huge difference. Lastly, you can head to my Instagram post today, comment your biggest takeaway from this episode so we can keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.